Acción.
Motherland Island, your bones, your flesh, that which is and always has been your own, beyond the names, languages, and dogmas of the empires that lusted over you, who possessed and trapped you. Resilience is now a concept defined by you. We are embers from the bonfires in Playa Combate. Culture, legacy, family. These are motion, how we honor the legacy of our ancestors, those who came before us, and how we must lift up the ones who come next. The woke children that tug on the abuela's skirts, rituals of passage are recognition of role and responsibility. Family, legacy, culture. Puerto Rico, originally named Borinquen, which in our Arawak Taino language means land of the brave and noble lords. Colonized by Spain and occupied by the U.S. in 1898, after the Spanish-American War, Puerto Rico. We have had many identifications, a protectorate, a colony, a commonwealth of the U.S. We participate in the military and have made great contributions in defense of the United States. We have citizenship, although we cannot vote in presidential elections. Our currency is the US dollar, and we are limited by the Jones Act, which regulates maritime trade. The law that strangles Puerto Rico, as per the New York Times. We were granted an autonomous government in 1952 with the creation of the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, or Estado Libre Asociado. For the past 10 years, we've been seeing an economic crisis that climaxed last year, with more than $70 billion in debt caused by triple tax-exempt bonds and business regulations that only served to enrich U.S. corporations, as well as $50 billion in pension obligations. In response, Congress passed the Promesa Act, the Puerto Rico Oversight Management and Economic Stability Act, last year. This bill established a fiscal oversight board to restructure the debt and overrule the Puerto Rican government. This board has the power to privatize our land and change labor laws, among other things, and payment of their time will be added to the debt. This was the death of the Commonwealth. Artists and activists responded by waving black and white Puerto Rican flags. An artist, Carlo Ibarra, published an obituary in the daily periodical El Nuevo Día. Estado Libre Asociado, 1952-2016. Ni pan, ni tierra, ni libertad. Agradecemos al país que de alguna u otra forma soportó 64 años de limbo político. Que el espíritu de la autodeterminación ilumine cada uno de nuestros corazones e infunda, asimismo, valor para encarar lo que parece imposible. Descansa en paz. Free Associated State. No bread, no land, no liberty. We thank the country that, in many shapes, many forms, withstood 64 years of political limbo. May the spirit of self-determination illuminate each and one of our hearts and infuse strength and courage to face what seems impossible. Rest in peace. When I decided to leave the island in 2010, my grandma asked me, ¿Por qué te vas si aquí siempre hay de dónde comer? En el patio y en las calles plátanos, panapén, mango, toronjas, malanga, yautía. Why do you want to leave? Nature provides. There's food from the backyards and from the streets, plantain, breadfruit, mango, avocados, grapefruit, and root vegetables. But I did need to leave and learn. There was no progress in comfort. Now, what we face is much more profound. Hurricane Maria has lifted the veil on what colonization has done to Puerto Rico, how it has weakened our infrastructure in service to outside forces, how there's a deep disconnect and lack of education here in the United States about its relationship to Puerto Rico and its other Caribbean territories, how us and the diaspora and all of you are allies, how we must step up and mobilize against systems of oppression that impact our communities of color. I'd love to see Boricuas rise and claim the value and strength in our way of magic, our way of creating cultural and intellectual legacy, of building family and community, sustainable economic systems that strengthen the island and its people. To reclaim a perspective that is our own and celebrates our native and Afro-Caribbean roots. Using the name Boricua to peel off the scars left by our colonizers. Boricua means brave and noble lords in Taino Arawak language. Our nature is that of generous warriors who defend family and land to no avail. We who feed, house, and nurture the spirits of those who come to us. We are people who build. We build our own homes with our hands, with work connected to the land. We are a culture of music, dance, food, and festival. We are resilient under the whips of hurricane winds and political disarray. We are wet soil when wild rivers calm down, fresh and reborn. Last year, I became a fellow in a national intercultural leadership program called ILI. Our first convening was this past March in Jackson, Mississippi, a generous and transformative immersion into the heart of Southern Black culture. This was an important moment in my own journey, reflecting heavily on the colonial status of Puerto Rico as I learned about the journey of our kin from the Black community in the South. 3 things spoken by one of the faculty, an elder, Celie McInnes, still resonate with me. We often, people of color, define ourselves in positions of deficit instead of surplus. If you don't love your people, you will betray your people. And lastly, when you don't know your culture, you perpetuate ideas that hurt you and your culture. Everyone, a shift in mindset and approach must be embraced, and I believe it is through claiming what makes our own culture strong and why it keeps those of us living in the diaspora awake at night. Family, connection, collaboration, trade, community, motion, movimiento, amor, respeto. The resistance is capillary and complex, says Doctora Maribel Alvarez at ILI. It is about empowering a multitude of leaders, the collective, rather than following a single leader, having gatekeepers, or waiting for things to solve themselves. We must take on a horizontal approach to power that is in opposition to the vertical power structures we are so used to. We can't fight fire with fire. We know that it's a failed system that thrives on us opposing it. This is hard. Colonialism has programmed us, and it is a process of unlearning. And within this process, what must be prioritized is self-compassion, awareness, trust. Vulnerability is strength. No one can touch you when you are strong in you and when you lift others up in unison. As we are all now singing in the diaspora, temporal, temporal, allá viene el temporal. ¿Qué será de mi Borinquen cuando llegue el temporal? ¿Qué será de Puerto Rico cuando llegue el temporal? We will rebuild, I'm confident. We are the brave and noble lords, but we must take action to protect our people, our land, our memory, and our future. Borinquen, fuerza.